Hello everyone, welcome to International Trade Practice. We are now moving to the chapter 5 and we're going to talk about the exporting marketing. So as you know, globalization had a lot of impacts in the local markets and also with the firm. Before, they are just a large-scale business and now accessible to small companies throughout the nations and across the country. Products and services are often performed internationally and at greatly reduced cost, making international expansion and production outsourcing a suitable option for businesses. But many people don't still understand the benefits of global business in their industry, and that's why they don't know how they are going to sell their products in other countries. Today, we're going to understand what are the different strategy that you can sell your product in other country. We have five objectives. Our first objective is let us demonstrate an understanding of export marketing as an important part of international trade. And secondly, let us specify the entry point as a channel of decision making in export marketing. So what are the different strategies of export marketing, the different trends and issues that will help us make a decisions or that will influence the decision making of the company. And let us acquire some knowledge on overseas market research. So our topic outline is let us define the export marketing, the role of export marketing, some market considerations, and entry channel decisions and market entry strategy. One of the major goal of the business is to double or triple their products by expanding to product sales on an international level. But the important thing is how are you going to do that? How are you going to able to penetrate foreign markets? So internationalization is really interesting, but the question is how prepared the firm is. Going global takes a lot of considerations like cultural differences, shipping costs and transit time, politics, and international trade policies. These are all contributing to a marketing communication barrier between suppliers and buyers. Okay? So what is marketing? So in CIM definition, marketing is the management process responsible for identifying, anticipating, and satisfying customer requirements profitably. Okay, here in Korea, you have a lot of manufacturing industry of automobile parts. Okay, so I believe that this company is not just making an automobile part. They do that, okay, they manufacture automotive or car parts because they were able to get a potential buyer in other country or locally. So what is really marketing? So when we say marketing, we attract new customers. Okay, we design our products, okay, according to the needs and wants of the customer. Okay, so the goal of marketing is to keep and grow current customers by delivering satisfaction. Okay, it is not that you know how to make car parts. It is not that you know how to prepare or you create a plastic products, but instead you also know how are you going to make your product available to the market, how are you going to make your customer buy your product, and that is marketing. Okay, so if we could be able to identify the customer's needs and wants, and we know the right place, okay, wherein we can sell our product, okay, that could ensure that we understand the concept of marketing, and that could ensure that how we can be able to make our business profitable. Okay. if we are going to apply the concept of marketing, like knowing the buying behaviors, knowing the interests of the customer, knowing the needs of the foreign customers. Okay, so therein you are doing an international marketing. So you are applying the marketing principles in more than one countries by companies overseas or across national borders. When you go global or international, okay, you have to prepare a plan, okay, a marketing plan, specifically international marketing plan. In your plan, it has a special attention on how you are going to identify your target market, on how are you going to position your product, where are you going to sell it, how are you going to sell it, and how much you are going to sell your product to a particular target market, considering the demographic profile, considering the status, considering the political and the global environment of your company. What do you think are the reasons that encourage an international firm to go global or to go across the country? Okay, the importance of international marketing is, first, it could constitute to the most important target market in the world. You can find new market, new potential buyer for your products. Secondly, it can achieve worldwide dominance. You are not limited with the customer within your country, but you can dominate the possibility. If you have a good business strategy, you can dominate, okay, the worldwide industry, like what Nike had done, Adidas, they became popular, and then some travel agencies, some companies, multinational companies, why Walmart will be able to establish a country in different countries, why Tesco is also putting a lot of stores in other countries. So they had seen that they could be able to dominate the market. And the third important reason is firms believe that it could provide greater profit than gross domestic product. So if in Korea they're only earning won, if they go in other country, possibility they're going to earn dollars. Take note, marketing goal is to attract customer, retain them, keep them grow, and satisfy them. Okay, how are we going to do that? Okay, but first we have to understand the different levels of marketing. So when we say marketing, we have domestic marketing, export marketing, international marketing, and global marketing. When we say domestic marketing, we satisfy our local customer. We satisfy the needs and wants of our local customer. For export marketing, so this is particularly limited for exportation. Okay, how are you going to sell a ton of your bricks? How are you going to sell a ton of your fish, vegetables, okay, shrimp, and other minerals and metals to other country? Okay, so that is particularly for exporting. And for international globalization is that you create a product wherein for only a particular region. Okay, so the concentration of your product is intended only for a regional orientation. Example, you design a shoes, okay, that shoes is only intended for Southeast Asian market. Example, you prepare, you had created a parts of an aircraft intended only for European market. So that is international marketing. For global marketing, it means that you satisfy the customer regardless of region. No national or no regional segmentation. So the design of t-shirt here in Nike could be available in Japan, could be available in Malaysia, and also in the Philippines. Okay, so another example of international marketing, going back there, is that example here in Korea, you have a bulgogi burger. okay, that is being sold by Lotteria, KFC, Burger King, and McDonald's. Okay? But if you were going to Hong Kong, China, Singapore, you could not see bulgogi burger made by Burger King or McDonald's. Okay, so they designed the product intended for a particular customer or region that is international. But if, example, Big Mac, okay, you can see Big Mac all over the world where there is a McDonald's. That is their uh, that is their international product. Okay, that we call it global marketing. So no national or regional segmentation. For this particular international trade practice, we are going to concentrate on the export marketing. Don't you know that the only difference between export marketing plan and a regular marketing plan is the location? Okay, they use the same type of marketing research format. Okay, but the concentration is the optimal domestic market. Okay, it must be completed on an international scale. International marketing strategy is depending on the category of business. So like if you're going to do marketing in manufacturing, okay, and that could be another setting of marketing. If you're going to use marketing in hospitality perspective or tourism perspective, okay, the method is the same, but the concentration and the design of the product and the promotional activities would be kind of different. For export marketing, we are going to concentrate on how the products in local country could be able to enter in foreign country. So export marketing is more on the practice of shipping goods directly to a foreign country. Okay, I want to give you an example: the Fanta soft drinks, Honda, and the retail giant H&M. Okay, so these countries are doing a good job in terms of shipping and making their products available everywhere in different region. Don't you know that H&M had paid 3.5 million for 30-second commercial during the 2012 Super Bowl? Okay, so that could be a marketing bonanza, okay, that has long been dominated by American brands. So they use a commercial, okay, just to be able to penetrate the American market. H&M is a Swedish multinational clothing retail company, and they are being known for its fast fashion clothes for men, women, teenagers, and children. So it really takes them 3.5 million to pay the commercial just to be able to give brand awareness to the people of America, because they are Swiss, so the fashion is not that the same, but they use a commercial to be able to create an information awareness to the American people during 2012 Super Bowl that is being held in Indianapolis. Entering into different territory is not a joke, okay? It takes a lot of effort, it takes a lot of money for you to be able to sell your product to other country. Okay? It is not just only finding the right buyer, okay? It is not just only the process on where are you going to sell your products, but more of a process to follow and perform successful strategic marketing plan considering the different trade barriers. Okay, so it is the business itself in exporting, and it involves several commercial and regulatory procedures. So you have to follow the rules and regulations and studying the political, economical, social, technological, legal, and environmental aspect of your business going to other country. Particularly, you need to have a lot of studies in terms of foreign country selection. okay, which country, which continent, or like what cultural differences that will make your product fitted to that market segment. You also have to consider the natural conditions. Okay, so this is relevant to the weather, land size, environment, is mobility. Why? Like, for example, in the landlocked countries, mostly they are in Central Asia. They don't have an ocean or a sea that will be accessible for the ship for transporting your products. Okay, as we know that shipping, okay, the shipping lines is the most cheapest way on how you can transport your product. Air transportation is very expensive, and train or by land is the most accessible, but you need to go to other country. You have to access in other countries, so you have to consider that. Okay, and also the socioeconomic profile. Okay, so in terms, like example of fashion clothing may be too expensive for a certain countries in Africa or Asia. Then the quality of materials you buy or you choose would not be suitable to the tropical country, okay, or to the country wherein they have four season. So you have to define first what class of consumers you plan on selling to. Okay, lower class, middle class, upper class. And you also have to consider your competitors' landscape. So this one place in which competition is good, or which area is you have a dominance, or you have a competitive advantage, okay, or you have like you only have that kind of product, or they have that kind of scarce, or they don't have sufficient supply of the products that you are selling. So that there's a lot of considerations. What are the particular features of export marketing, okay, or the elements, okay, of export marketing? So you have to consider the systematic process. It includes distribution of goods and services, the marketing research, the product design, branding, packaging, pricing, promotion. Okay, so here in Korea, your brand is really kind of, let's say, catchy, okay? Or when you hear the word, if I'm a foreigner and then I'm gonna hear the some of your Korean brand, okay, in our country there will be some other meaning, okay? So that could be your choice of brand, okay? So for a foreign like me, it's kind of be catchy, or it will leave a mark in my mind that this is a Korean brand, okay? And you also have to consider the large scale operations, okay? Remember, in export marketing, they are not selling one piece, two piece, or three pieces of mango. They are selling thousands of tons, okay? They are selling in bulk, okay? So also in export marketing, you have to remember the dominance of multinational corporations. So if you are a small boy or a small business going to international market, you have to expect the giant competitors coming from USA, Europe, Japan, and China. More so, export marketing, okay, encounters a lot of trade barriers. Okay, so when you go to communist country, you could expect the more stricter and a lot of government intervention in terms of foreign investor. Okay, and of course you have to consider the protectionism. They are after with protecting their local business. Okay, and lastly, the documentation. You have to submit a lot of documents. What are the principal export documents? You may encounter commercial invoice, packing list, bill of lading, combined transport documents, certificate of inspection or quality control, insurance certificate or policy, certificate of origin, bills of exchange, and shipment advice. Okay, so these particular documents, we are going to discuss them one by one in the next coming chapter. So these documents are mostly like certifying your product is in good standing, your company is operating legally, your company had complied the international trading policy, and then you have all financial capacity to buy and sell the products, and in case there will be some problem, there you have a capacity on how you are going to solve those kind of circumstances. Okay, so those are some of the export documents. Okay, so what are the importance of export? Okay, if I am Samsung, what makes me decide to go importation or exportation? Okay, number one, I already mentioned this the importance, but I would like to emphasize that exportation could help you increase sales and profit because you have new market. You can gain global market share. You can find new market in other country, and you can enhance domestic competitiveness because when your product is for exportation, definitely it means that your product is really in good quality. And also, the importance of exportation is that it could diversify your products. So when you say diversified, you can enlarge your product, okay? You can expand your product. It's more on business enlarging or varying its range of products or field of operations. Of course, if you are producing a large amount of product, okay, it could definitely lower your per unit cost because you can produce a lot of the products. So what could be the particular role or contribution of export marketing to the national level, to your origin country? Number one, it could contribute dollars. Okay, it could contribute foreign exchange. Secondly, it could be an open opportunities for you to be able to meet foreign people that will help you develop your business. Okay, and also that could be also an opportunity for the balance of payment. It could provide the country the record, a good record of all economic transactions between the residents of the country and the rest of the world in a particular period of time. The fourth role of export marketing in national level, it could provide a good reputation in the world. Okay, so in terms of mobile phone, okay, definitely the first country that will come to the mind of the foreign investor is what? Korea. In terms of agriculture, they say that it's in China. Okay, but the international market is dominated uh, by USA, Netherlands, and Germany. Although China is the largest agricultural producer overall, the USA exports the most produce. They are the largest corn producer and amongst the largest producers of oats, tomatoes, soybean, and spice. Each year, the U.S. agricultural exports are around $150 billion. Next is Netherlands and Germany. And lastly, export marketing could be an opportunity for employment opportunities for local people. Okay, you could apply as an import or export agent. You could work as translator. You could work as foreign currency investment advisor, foreign sales representative, or also you could work as international management consultant. So those are the available jobs for international trade students. Next, what is the role or contribution of export marketing in business level? The business itself, the firm itself, okay? Number one is it could build reputation. Okay? For example, Sony, Coca-Cola, and Pepsi. So worldwide, okay, they knew what is Coca-Cola and they are very popular. Okay? The company become popular in the whole wide world. And secondly, it could contribute to the optimum production. After local demand, it can be carried up to optimum product. It is not only known in the local market, but once it become popular, okay, in international market, there will be an increase of production. Okay? And next is spreading of risk. Okay? It means that there will be a balance of loss and profit. By the time that the company had made a decision of going global, they knew what to do and how they are going to do that. Business owners are taking their lessons learned to rethink risk and growth strategy. So by this, they are spreading risk by diversifying. They are making strategic alliances, for example, or as one remodeler has done, going whole hog and buying the business next door. Okay, so their strategy locally, okay, will be expanded, and whatever problem that they had encountered in the local market, okay, they are going to use that lessons and become cautious when they go to international market. Of course, accepting the fact that international market is totally different, but somehow, one way or another, okay, there are some strategies, standards that are available and applicable in entering other country. And definitely, for the business, it could gain a high profit. As you know, China is the number one export in number one in terms of export industry. Next is what are the export marketing trends and issues? Why this topic is important? Because by knowing what's happening in your environment, what's happening in your dynamic environment, the management, the business or the firm could be able to decide, design, and create a strategy or a plan that will help them in decision making on how they are going to position their business to the international market. Okay, so here are some of the export current trends that influence or that shape the culture, that shape the strategy or the plans of how a particular company is going to an international market. Number one is the use of social media. Everything is in Twitter, okay, Facebook, Pinterest, Instagram. Okay, so they are now using social media, okay, to find or to outsource which area they can sell their product, which area, which country could provide them the low cost of raw materials, low labor costs. Okay, so everything now is in social media platform. Secondly is the cross-sector marketing. Nowadays, they are doing a lot of strategies like they are doing like forward integration and backward integration. So for forward integration, instead of buying uh, a particular part, like example, a bicycle, instead of buying a tire in other company, okay, they are just going to produce their own tire. Okay, you know, tire in that is in the bicycle wheel. Okay, for the backward integration, so they are, when you say backward integration, they are going to buy the products directly to the manufacturing, not that they're going to the supermarket. So they, of course, if you're going to buy directly to the supplier, it could give you a lesser price of the product. The third one is artificial intelligence. Okay, um, the chatbot. Okay, and a lot of machines are now being operated by robots. If you happen to watch the YouTube, they are now introducing a robot doctor, a robot chef, a robot secretary, a robot banker. Okay? If you are going to send some messages to a company of airline, it is not a person that it would immediately answer you. Okay? You will be assisted by a particular like answering machine, or they call it chat bot. Okay, they are going to talk to you about your concerns. And one of the latest trends is the video advertising. Don't you know who is the richest okay, the youngest and richest YouTuber in the whole world? Okay, if you happen to watch the YouTube, the name of the boy is Ryan. Ryan of Ryan's World. Okay, he earned $26 million in 2019, up to $22 million in 2018, according to the annual top ranking by Forbes. Okay, that was based on estimated earnings between June 2018 and June 2019. What Ryan is doing is he unbox and show in YouTube how to use different kinds of toys. And nowadays they have a different segments in YouTube together with his dad, his mom, and his brothers and sister. Don't you know that as of April 2020, the net worth of Ryan is $112 million. He's only 8 years old, but usually releases new video every day. That's how video advertising creates an impact into the global business. What are the challenges of exports? So number one, of course, is the technological differences. You have to make sure that you have the right permit to use technologies, unless or else you will face a lawsuit. It must be licensed with intellectual property rights. And one of the challenges is reduction in export incentives. Some of the country uh, they are reducing incentives for foreign investors, okay, by like raising tariff. Okay, normally it should be they should be doing like for the investor, they're giving an incentives like decreasing the tariff, but due to some economic sanction, okay, the possibilities that they might encounter a high tariff. Okay, they were not going to enjoy some export incentive. And then is global competition. Remember, your product to be strategic, it should be rare, valuable, difficult to imitate, and difficult to substitute. Wherein it could give you a cutting edge advantage, okay, in international market. And lastly, the challenge is the problems in preparing documents. Every country has a different sets of requirements. Every country has a particular sets of documents that you need to comply, especially in labeling, packaging, health concerns, compliance with the government rules and regulations. So those are some of the challenges that you may encounter in export. What are the implications or the effect of these trends and issues? Okay, number one, it can be a subject for market research in terms of updated assessments of trend. I already mentioned that these happenings, this dynamic environment of firm could influence the decision making of the company in terms of designing the product, communicating the product, and sending or transporting the products in other country. And these trends and issues would give an idea about how a company could accelerate or improve their strategy, okay, in entering global markets. Okay. So particularly, what are the export marketing strategy? Okay, number one, the export market research and selection. Okay, you can use marketing research and development on studying the consumer's behavior, consumer's pattern, the spending behavior, the indexes that had been given by the World Trade Organizations. So those are the informations or data you can exploit, okay, to identify in terms of pricing, in terms of financial, in terms of direction of your company decision. Secondly is export market brand strategy. So you have to identify your particular market segment. Who will be your buyer? So you have to research for that. And export market pricing and trading terms. So what are the prevailing or existing promotional price that is acceptable to the foreign market? That could be your strategy. And the fourth one is market sales and distribution strategies. Which one is better? Are you going to use distributor or are you going to find a good broker so that they will be the one to sell your product, or you are going to have your um, own business and distributor company in other country? Okay, so that could be the strategy. And the lastly is export market promotions program. What kind of support channel you're going to use? Are you going to use a television? Are you going to use the radio? Are you going to use event marketing for you to be able to penetrate the market? How your product will become popular, or how you are going to create awareness in the foreign market. Okay, I would like to give you some of the hot export markets for small businesses. So if I plan to visit Morocco, what kind of products that I could introduce to them? Okay, so some of the promising market products or goods for Morocco are renewable energy, water treatment, building construction, and safety and security equipment. If I want to invest my money and export a product in Mexico, the promising market products are more on consumer products, okay, packaging and plastic, tourism and tourism related services, and housing construction. Okay, maybe at the moment it's not yet applicable because of the coronavirus, but previously these are the promising products you can find or you can create for the market in Mexico. For India, okay, the potential products you can export in India is education system, industrial textile, food processing and cold storage equipment, electronics, and clean energy and pollution control equipment. So that's because one of the problem in India is pollution. Okay, and for Colombia, if I want to export my product in Colombia, it should be related with security services and equipment, transportation consulting and technology, data processing equipment and services, because peace and order is one of the problem in Colombia. I had watched a lot of video in Facebook or in YouTube wherein a tourist can experience uh, like they experience like holding and their items were being snatched by local people. So might be that could be the reason why they want this kind of uh, product, okay, wherein you have a potential buyer because of the peace and order situation in the society. Okay, again, what could be the methods of selling to foreign markets? What could be the strategy on how we could sell our product in the international market? You can do the direct export, indirect export, and partnership and alliance firm. When you do direct export, uh, when you market your product or when you sell and deliver your product, okay, directly to the client. Okay, they're going to order here in Korea, and then you're going to ship that to them. And you could set lower prices, and you will become more competitive because you don't have to pay a warehouse, a renting, a transportation, a stuff in other country, because your main office is here in Korea. What you are just going to pay is the shipping costs, okay? And also some other documentations. In terms of indirect export, you can use intermediary. You can use some in this distributor, agent, or broker who is going to sell your product. And lastly, we have the partnership and alliances. Okay, you could look for a company in a particular region or a country that will buy your goods, and they're going to sell your goods. Okay, so that is partnership and alliances. So one by one, let us describe the advantage and disadvantages of using this market entry strategy, or how are we going to sell our products or goods in other country. Number one, we mentioned the direct export. Okay, you could have a high return on investment. You could set lower price because of the operational expenses, or operational cost will be lessened because your home country is in Korea, and you could have a direct relationship with your customer, that is direct export. For indirect, you are going to use an agent, trading house, or a representative. Of course, that could be depending on the arrangement. Okay, so they can do some leg of work for you, or they are going to find a buyer for you, or they are going to connect you with other agent or broker or distributor. So that's how indirect export works. And for the partnership and alliances, okay, you could find a domestic or a foreign company that will provide you a technology or market access, and will also help you sell your product, or in simple term, they're going to buy your product and they're going to sell it. That is partnership and alliances. If your company decide to use intermediaries, you could have some agents and representative. Okay, these agents secure orders from foreign customer in exchange for a commission. So they're going to connect you with the buyer. Okay, so both agents and representatives may be authorized to enter into contractual sales agreement which are being given by the company. So these are specialized. You could work also with specialized agent who operates within a specific geographic area. Okay, so who sells related lines of goods or services. Or your company may decide to partner with different trading houses. So when you say trading houses, they are expert in handling many aspect of exporting, like market research, or they're going to do the market research for you. In terms of transportation, they will arrange the transportation, appoint distributor or agent. They could exhibit trade fair, they could advertise for you, and they can prepare a document for you. It's like one-stop shop. Okay, they're going to do everything for you in relation with exportation. And lastly is the foreign distributors. Unlike agents, distributors purchase your product or service and resell it to local customer. They will be the one to distribute your product and they can set their own selling price. Okay, and of course you're going to give them an authority for after product service. Okay, if there will be some troubleshooting, okay, you give them an authority to conduct this kind of fixing the problem. To summarize the export marketing, when you want to sell your product in other country, you can use exporting, contractual, or overseas assembly. For exporting, you can sell your product directly to the buyer, or you can find some subsidiaries, or you can find some other agency or company who will sell your product. If you want to put up your business in other country, the better options are franchising, licensing, turnkey projects, like you create your product and then you can sell it to other company, then manufacturing itself, and then the contract management. And for the investment entry, you can do the foreign direct investment, you can acquire business in other country, or you could do the joint venture. Okay, so I hope that you learn a lot on how you can sell your product in other country. Okay, as we had summarized, but the bottom line is it is very important that you analyze, assess, and study your foreign country potential buyers so that you can formulate a strategy fitted for your target market. And for the implementation of your strategy, you also have to some backups or some control measures on uh, on anticipating the different risks or challenges that you may encounter in other countries. Okay, so that's for today. Thank you. And this is your professor, Dr. Christine Joy Simpao. Have a nice day, everyone. Thank you.